Hey guys, welcome back. This is Frank Driscoll from the Frank Driscoll Show. We have special guest Bryan Thompson here. He's from Creative Design Build. And I actually spoke with Bryan several months ago, and I knew as soon as I talked to him that I wanted to definitely have him on the show. He's got some great things to share with you guys that I think you're going to love. So without further ado, please welcome Bryan Thompson to the show.
Thank you, Frank.
Perfect. Hey, just first of all, just tell us kind of what is it that you do and how you got into this business?
I got into construction when I was 19. I was an engineer in college. I needed an internship, completely fell into it, had no experience in the construction industry, and I just basically interned with a small firm that was a startup. It was 4 guys in a room that needed an intern. That company today is a $150 million company. I finished my mechanical engineering degree at the University of Illinois, immediately went to go work for them in Chicago, and I built in Chicago for about 5 to 6 years before I moved out to Arizona to do larger commercial real estate with the big developer. After that, I moved into renewable energy and worked with one of the biggest renewable energy companies on the planet, First Solar. And working for them, I worked on a $2 billion project. I learned that I wanted to do something a little more focused. I wanted to work for myself. I was overworking for a company that had 6,000 employees worldwide and a lot of layers of red tape. I met a business partner who had capital and wanted to start a high-end construction company. We had a few meetings, kicked the idea around for about a year, and we decided to purchase some properties, design some homes, and we literally came out of nowhere with 5 pretty impressive specs that were about $2 million each that we built simultaneously with no marketing, and just took them to market and came out years ago. That's when we started the company. Completely rogue style, guerrilla style, few guys in a room, a couple superintendents, and that it went. So I went from working for a multinational huge company to, again, like I started out as an intern, a few guys in a room around a table.
Wow, that is probably one of the most impressive stories I've heard. To go from basically an intern to just get in there and then prove yourself, build out, have massive success. At what point did you know where you're going to take this on your own and you're going to be an entrepreneur and you've got to make that change, even though I'm sure you had a lot of security and there was some risk to do that, I imagine?
There's a lot of risk. You turn down some amazing opportunities. When you work for a big company, you're always being approached by other big companies, and that's salary, that's benefits, but you're always going to kind of be there's always a ceiling, depending on what role. You see the guys in the C-suite, there's a different path to become a CEO, a CFO, or a COO of those companies. And you got to take a long time as opposed to saying, you know what, I want to start my own thing. I want to create my own thing, build it the way I want to with the right staff, keep it lean. The leanness is what attracted me to starting my own company, kind of getting rid of the fat, the red tape. As companies grow, they acquire other companies. Departments expand, people's roles kind of become convoluted. You maybe get 2 bosses in the same exact role, and it made no sense. When you're a younger guy, you want to see things move. You come up with great ideas. Those great ideas have to go through so many layers. When if you own your own company, you'd be like, today we're gonna institute this, or we're gonna change the way we do budgets, and we're gonna do it this way, or we're gonna approach clients this way. You can be an F-16 versus turning a 747. And so I just wanted to be fast, nimble, be able to adapt with market changes, do my own thing. And that's what I knew when I saw the ideas you had didn't get enacted quickly enough, that I was going to own my own company one day.
Perfect. And I definitely can relate to that. It seems like I've been either director at different companies or managers, and I thought I had these great ideas and wanted to implement them. And I quickly found out, well, there's a process, and we just don't move quickly on some of these things. And that can be frustrating, especially if you think you have a great idea. Now you have that leanness, if you will. You also don't have multiple people doing the same jobs, right? It's very efficient. And you see with that speed of being able to move like that fighter jet that you talked about, isn't it a great feeling to be able to have an idea, act on it, and just immediately execute? I mean,
it is, and also be able to adapt with the market. With big companies, market changes. They can't really just change their approach overnight. They can't just change, how they're addressing projects that are under construction. When you're smaller, when you're able to adapt, The way, I like to focus a little more on commercial sometimes, kind of hedge against the luxury, but with, base build, singular focus commercial projects that are a little higher end. So it keeps the team focused and allows me to be in two different building types at the same time, just in case something were to happen in the residential market. You can then feed the commercial side. Again, I focus on luxury, so it's not as market affected as some of the other housing market, but you still have to be careful. Don't get out over your skis and have some big specs under construction, just in case the market does dip a little bit.
Oh yeah, look, that's definitely a business where you really got to know and be able to read the tea leaves of what's going on. Give me this. What was one of your biggest aha moments or any breakthrough epiphanies that you had in building this entrepreneurial career in this side?
One of the things that we learned was it was a space that the commercial space that I came from, and these big companies that I came from, that wasn't really transferred to the residential space. The residential space was a little unsophisticated compared to where I came from. So by taking some of the control tools and just the speed of construction and the methodology from a commercial standpoint and doing it in residential, that was the aha. To me, it was a no-brainer, but to other people in the industry, it was kind of not heard of. We'd shell out a house very quickly in a luxury format. That's very rare. We would cut our build times down 25-30% against some of our competitors. Just because that saves cost of capital, and clients want their house fast. So if you can build it faster and still maintain the quality, we were able to bring some of those things we did in the commercial space to the residential space, and we knew if we could continue to do that and continue to stay lean and be faster with a high level of quality, that would separate us from some of our competitors that had been around for a long time and were still kind of on the old residential construction path. So that was the big aha, was say, hey, let's bring everything we learned in commercial, let's take that model, bring it to a luxury space, and let's make us different.
Wow, look, those are some impressive things when you really can revolutionize a particular space in that high-end market for the luxury, where honestly, they're not used to doing it with the efficiency of the commercial that you've come back from that background. That's a huge standing point. Do you have some example of some clients that were very appreciative or that you could demonstrate that you've done that? I mean, we don't have to name names, but I know you have some pretty big clients that you've worked with and how important it was for doing an outstanding job and delivering on that led to other clients and sharing those.
I mean, absolutely. I did a house in Silverleaf for a wonderful couple from the Chicago area, and they had interviewed some builders, and they interviewed me and my partner, and they looked at one of my specs that I had for sale. They loved it, but they wanted a different lot, and they asked if we could design them a home. They were very scared of the construction process, very scared of the design process. They didn't know how to make choices. They said it took them 6 months to remodel their powder bathroom with a builder, and it cost them twice as much as they expected. And they had a really bad taste in their mouth for builders in general, and to have a build process. They couldn't imagine doing an entire house that was almost 7,000 feet on over an acre. And, we walked them through our process, how we did it, how we were going to build it and guarantee the construction timeline if they did it with our design methodology, with our designer, led them through the process. We got them through design review at Silverleaf and DC Ranch in less than 60 days, through the city of Scottsdale in less than 60 days. We built their house that was 6,250 square feet, over $5 million, and we built it in 11 and a half months. So we started in January, and they spent Christmas in there that year. And they jokingly tell other clients that I walk through the house that designing and building this house was easier than remodeling our powder room with the other builders. So that's what I walk potential clients through their house and introduce them to them. And it's like the greatest. I don't have to say anything. I'm just like, talk to these two and ask them about the process and ask them how happy they are with the home, and then just have a look around the home. And I've gotten almost every single client I've walked through that house, I've actually got as a client when they've met them there as well.
Oh, perfect. Great. Another great success. I love those experiences. And when we talked before, hearing about it, it just kind of reinforces the belief. And that's one thing I wanted to ask you too. There's some pretty big builders that build some pretty good homes for up to a certain amount. What are some of the key differences between like these other high-end builders that are still tract homes versus your custom homes where you really stand out and shine? If someone's pretty close to that, maybe a little bit more for yours, what are some of the things that they're getting for that?
Well, I mean, a good example is a client I just signed up with. I won't say his name, but he's a PGA Tour golfer. He's a top 50 in the world. He was actually going down the process with one of the major production builders that would be called high-end production, and they have a large neighborhood near the DC Ranch, North Scottsdale area that they were under contract, and they picked the house they wanted, started dealing with the builder, and after they started going through the design process, they were almost $400,000 to $500,000 over what they had contracted at. Just by changing tile, little things, they started to learn what the production builder wants to get you in the contract, but every change, every little thing costs you a pretty substantial amount of money to make those changes and really make it custom, truly custom. And at that point, it crossed a certain barrier and a certain price point, north of $3.5 to $4 million. You start to understand that you can get everything you want on your own lot, design it from scratch. We'll design it to your budget, and you can get all the things that those guys are selling as upgrades. You can get those with us, and we're going to include that in your budget. We're going to build it in from the beginning and design the whole house, design build, from the dirt work all the way through the finishes to make it exactly what you want, stay on budget. So that's kind of the difference. It's a very bespoke, make it a custom suit versus trying to grab one off the shelf and make it tailored to you. So that client ended up coming to me and saying, hey, we want to understand your process versus where we're at over here. We've had a bad experience. We don't want to get, $400,000 or $500,000 in change orders that we weren't expecting. We wanted the model. We didn't know the model cost this. And that's kind of how you get the bait and switch, even on lower end tract homes. Everybody wants the model, but that's the most expensive house in the neighborhood. So we were able to find them a lot, design them a house, and we're going to break ground next month. And we're designing it and keeping the finishes exactly what they want at their budget. And they're going to be at their original purchase price in that kind of tract development that they were going to buy in. And it's their own custom lot.
Huge success. I mean, those kind of stories, are very inspiring, and you do see it a lot when we're looking. My wife and I are looking at homes, and it might start at like X amount, but by the time we're finished with what we want and how the house is showing, it's like double. And I'm like, oh wow, this is quite a bit more, how they're showing than it actually is. Next question I have for you is, what are some trade-offs you're not willing to make? What is the things that are non-negotiable for you in business that you're just not willing to do?
I don't want to grow too fast or too big. I think becoming an entrepreneur and having challenges along the way and seeing market changes, being in commercial real estate in 2008 when the market collapsed and watching that happen, I'm a little more conservative and very strategic in, taking on partners, taking on capital, taking on clients. I think if you're going to become an entrepreneur, if you have the luxury to choose your clients and choose the projects, that's what I do. I won't bend. I won't take a client that I don't think fits with us or aligns with us or our business model. I'll gladly say, hey, I don't think I'm your builder, but I think you should go call these guys and give them your competitors. If you don't say that your competitors are good, I don't think that you're a good entrepreneur if you can't acknowledge guys doing good business. That would fit them better. So that's what I won't bend on. If I don't think someone's my client, I'll gladly tell them that and give them a recommendation to go with one of my competitors. And if the project's not something I want to do, I don't think that benefits anyone, because you're not making widgets. When you're building houses or doing developments, it's a long process. You're together with those clients. It's up to 2 years in the design, permitting, and building. So you're kind of stuck together, and you don't want to be in a position that's just a bad relationship. Also, I don't want to staff up and take on too much staff and get too fat too quickly and not be able to deliver the quality. So I'd rather, again, like we talked about at the beginning of the conversation, stay very lean, stay very focused on higher margin, high quality projects, and those will lead to other high quality, high margin projects. And you don't have to hire a lot of bodies. I'd rather have, just a very focused, very good team than just grabbing people off the street because I need someone to run a house and fill out paperwork. I don't want that.
No, great answer. I have another question. What drives you when it gets real tough? Like, let's say if you miss out on a few opportunities that you're really hoping for, what do you do as an entrepreneur when it gets tough and it's not always an easy business to be in? What are some things that you do?
I mean, sometimes you do have to take a breath and understand every project's not going to come. Even if you think it's yours, I just lost out on a commercial project that we've spent months working on for a client. And it was unfortunate. They kind of were shopping our bid in the background to a friend. And that's something that's unfortunate. It happens. And if you're going to get upset about it, then you're definitely in the wrong business because it's going to happen. So I think you need to sometimes understand it's going to happen, understand you're going to have setbacks, always be honest with the team. I like to tell my PM and my accountant and my other superintendent, what we're doing, make them feel a part of it. Tell them when we don't get a project, tell them when we have a failure, and say, we didn't get that one, but we're working on this, and this. So it's focused on what's next. Don't focus on what you missed out on. Don't focus on the past, because if you stay mired in that, you're not going to be successful. So it's more focus on, well, we didn't get that one, but that means we're going to get a better one. Or that means this project, we're going to be able to focus on a little more, build it faster. Always try to turn the negative into a positive, as cheesy as that sounds. I think if you do that, keep the team motivated, and then go on a vacation like every other month.
Yeah, when you go on vacation, you'll get called back, right?
Just somewhere, just go on a vacation and get some sun, and you'll be fine,
No, absolutely. What advice would you give to someone trying to break into the business? If they were to start right now, they're not in this, they're not building custom homes or in that commercial space, what advice would you tell someone that's trying to get into that business or start their own company, or what would you tell them?
I would tell them, probably be careful who you partner with. Always, just like a marriage, be very choosy if you're going to go into a business partnership. It's harder to get out of a business partnership than it is to get out of a marriage, and especially in this business where the dollar values are large. So I would say be very choosy with your partners. Be very cognizant of any contracts you sign and arrangements or profit sharing agreements you get into. Really understand the language. You want to trust people. You want to keep people, take people at face value. Unfortunately, the world isn't a perfect place. So, I would say, before anything, if you're getting into it in this business, I assume you've done construction before, and be sure all your T's are crossed, your I's are dotted before you move on and doing any projects. That would be my first advice. I think if anybody's had a bad business partner, that would be their first advice.
What were some of your greatest failures, and what did they teach you?
Some of the greatest failures, I believe, 2008, when, thinking that the market was going to go the way it was going in 2006 and 2007, as a younger guy and just building a lot, and the budgets were crazy and the expense accounts were crazy. I think, having 2008 happen and seeing what happened to the big companies and a lot of guys that were highly leveraged, learning that was the biggest failure. Losing, getting laid off with a lot of guys, being out of work, and seeing the market just tank, especially in the Arizona and Phoenix Scottsdale area. Just that taught me a lot. That taught me to be smart, be conservative, not just look at with blinders what's going on right now. Understand there's other market changes that can always affect you. That one, and then having a business partner that decided to kind of become a little unscrupulous and go down a path that I wasn't willing to go down. That taught me a big lesson, and it was a painful and expensive lesson, but probably the best lesson ever on top of 2008 and seeing the market collapse. I think those two things taught me so much, and now they've allowed me to be very successful.
Perfect. That's an excellent answer, and there's some key nuggets in there that definitely that people take away. Where do you see yourself and your business like going over the next 2 to 3 years? I mean, tell us a little bit about your vision for where you're going next.
In the next 2 to 3 years, I want to expand in Q4, Q1 into Southern California, San Diego, La Jolla, Coronado, just a couple very key areas around San Diego, the same way I focus around Scottsdale and in PV, DC Ranch, Silverleaf, very, very pointed areas where people want luxury homes. We're going to stay in a 3 to 4 customs a year, probably spec customs. We're going to try to divide 50-50 between specs and build-to-suits in both areas, and have 2 very small, lean teams headquartered out of Scottsdale, with a field team, a small office in La Jolla, and building 3 to 4 amazing homes a year in each market. So if we're delivering the 6 to 8 high-end luxury homes for those markets, that's my goal. That's my goal, is to build that into a sustainable business, and then reevaluate after we build the second office and have that going after 2 years, reevaluate how much we want to expand. So be very strategic with the expansion, and be very strategic once we see the numbers coming in and how both offices are doing.
Well, it seems very analytical and a systematic approach. I like that you don't get ahead of yourself. You know exactly when you want to do it. You know the areas that you want to do it. For those people that are watching at home, or from their phones or in their car, wherever they're at, what would be the best way for them to get a hold of you if they're interested in finding out more information, or if they want to get a custom home built, or they have referrals or projects for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Go to the website. It's Creative Design Build. That's creative without the E. So creativedesignbuild.com, or email me, Bryan, BRYAN, at creativedesignbuild.com. And definitely check out the projects that we've done on our website. You'll see our contact page, and you'll also be able to check out our Instagram. If you're able to look at our website on a desktop, you'll see a full flyover video of one of the houses in Silverleaf we just recently completed, and some interior shots as well. And you'll get a real feel for our look and kind of the direction of the homes that we do. We're going to push that design envelope a little more modern for our Southern California homes. And, we'd love for you to reach out, email me, happy to answer any questions you have, and definitely just tell you our process, which we are proud of because it's a little different. And we do bring a little different approach and kind of vibe than our other competitors. And I'd love to hear from anyone that's more eager to learn about it.
Perfect. And we'll make sure to put all those links below. And the other thing, guys, I've looked at Bryan Thompson's work. And after talking to him several months ago, I went and showed it, and I showed my wife, and man, we loved it. Like it was certainly a cut above. And to actually see and hear all the little things that he does, I mean, it's amazing. You definitely want to go in there and take a look at it for sure. And then go ahead, and if you like this, like and subscribe so that we can get him on, and put any comments that you have. If you have any questions as well before him, so he can pop on here as well. Well, Bryan, is there anything else that you would want to say to the people listening at home, or any other advice that you have as an entrepreneur that you've learned?
I just always, keep fighting, understanding that it's going to change. If you think it's all going to go the way you want it to go, it never will. But that's the excitement of being an entrepreneur, and being able to adapt is why you're an entrepreneur, and will what make you successful. And thank you so much for having me on.
No problem. Thanks so much, Bryan. Hey guys, thanks again, man. Feel free to go ahead and like and subscribe. Put the comments below. We really appreciate it. You guys just keep working hard. I promise you that this is such an amazing life to be an entrepreneur, and the opportunities we have, and to live really in probably the best time in the history to do these things. So we have the opportunity to just keep pushing hard and working towards it. Thanks so much, guys, and have a great day. And thanks again, Bryan, for coming on the show.
Thanks, Frank.
Take care.